Hello, hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, happy Thursday. Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's been such an amazing day of just delicious conversations, and I can't wait to continue it. Today, I have my dear sister, Mary, with me, and I'm just so excited to have her here so we can chat about all things of the soul and the heart. She is, when it comes to heart, connecting to of the heart of the divine, the love of the unconditional love of the divine. This woman embodies it to her core. So,
Mm-hmm.
welcome, sister. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, sister. Thank you, Sister Abigail. Golly, I love being in your energy. I love the frequency that you got us really enlightened with. I feel so good. Just getting on here with you, my vibration has risen, and so I'm always grateful for that. So
Your
thank you.
vibration is always rising.
It's like on super high. And I always liked it. Well, I like to take time and reflect, because it's all about what we're embody or in body. And it's just so much fun to recognize that when we get on these chats that there's bliss and joy and it just consumes me. I embody it wholeheartedly. It's so neat. And to think that people aren't taking time to experience that in life is such a gift. So
Yeah.
thank you for always sharing such a beautiful and powerful frequency in everything that you do and deliver and shine in.
Thank you, my love.
Mhm.
So, before we get into the deeper end of stuff, which, if you notice, we're already doing that, I want people to know who you are, people who've never met you before. So, tell us a little bit about who you are and your service in this world.
Who am I? Who
Mhm.
am I? And what did I come here to create? Or what did I come here really to allow to be birthed in and through me? So, my name is Mary Gooden. As you can see, I am the CEO and founder of Divine Destiny Publishing. I am a fully embodied channel of the divine feminine Christ. I have now really stepped into a full scope of wellness, sacred wellness coaching. And I do so a lot of this work right here in the heart of hearts of sacred Sedona, Arizona. Such a gift to me. I hold space and support all those souls that are awakening and awakened in this ever evolving mission of defining and aligning with their purpose. And I do this truly from what has been spoken through me as the heart of humanity, as the frequency of unconditional love, to bring us back to that place which we can relate to the golden age or the fifth dimension of just love, simply love, no offense, no diversity, no division, or all diversity, no division, just simply love. And so I hold a space in all kinds of timelines with publishing to share the voices of visionary coaches and leaders all over the globe on how they're showing up and how their soul is leading the way and how their life and experience has been a gift to lead the way so they can create this big I've let go of the ripple effect. We are a wave in motion, and we are flowing with ebb and divinity in all places and spaces. And then for sacred wellness and for the channel that I am, simply ask. As one of our dear friends Adriana said before, just I'll come sit on your lap and we'll change it. We'll change everything. We'll change and we'll calibrate to what feels like the most wholehearted adventure that you've ever discovered. And what that really is, standing in your sovereignty, coming into unity, and bringing the whole consciousness back. I'm going to say it, back to oneness.
Whew.
I know. Sometimes you get on and somebody asks you that question. You never know what your vessel's going to say.
Totally. And that's why I love it when people ask me questions. It's just because what needs to come through in that moment will come through. And it's exactly what people need to hear. I just love it. Instead of me trying to figure it out and write it, it's a mess sometimes. I love it. There's something that you said. You said, what is that full-bodied adventure that you're here to have? Something that it was so delicious. Mm-hmm. What is that? And I love that you kind of provide that, especially with the Sedona, where people can come to you and you create this adventure of bliss for them, and they get to just surrender and enjoy themselves. And I can see you bringing that in there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a full body adventure. It really is coming to life, bringing yourself back to, and we learned this in grade school, living from all 5 of your senses, or 6, right? Living in an embodied state for more time than you are not. And let's be realistic, because I still, I carry the codes of heaven on earth now. They asked me to get back in my body, so I've gotten back in my body. So from a realistic point of view, it really just becomes this adventure of how much time in the day, or how much time and space am I spending embodied versus not. And what we do is we just celebrate when we spend more time embodied. And so what we find ourselves doing is, during the time perhaps that maybe we're not feeling so embodied, we're still celebrating, because we're celebrating the fact that, hey, you know what? At least I was embodied for a couple of hours, or a couple of days, or a couple of weeks, or a couple of months. Or this is one of my favorites, because it happened with me and my eldest daughter, who was 16 at the time, is how much time am I spending in a place of life is happening to me versus life is happening for me. And what she had done is she had told me she was going to move into her father's house, because that was the thing. And what I celebrated is that it took me only 15 minutes to snap out of the whole idea that somehow I was being punished, and realize that she was stepping up into her own experience. And for me to celebrate that I had given her enough space, and knowing to feel as though she could do that, because oftentimes we'll make our children feel guilty for making their own decisions, all the while we've been encouraging them, or I had, since their first breath, to get up and make your own decisions. And so it becomes the celebration of how long are we staying in a place of joy and bliss. And I'll tell you, because we don't put any things around this. We don't say whether it's hard or easy or anything. We just ask, let it be easy, let it be fun, right? Let it be easy, let it be fun. But we just celebrate how much time we're spending in this place of shift, or embodied space, or bliss, rather than worrying about why we're still not there. We just celebrate how long we're spending there. And before you know it, it's always there. It's always in you. And you're like, ta-da!
I love that. I love that so much. And I love what you said. I think you said, let it be easy, let it be fun. It's requesting, because we're still humans on that adventure, regardless of how divine we are. And we still go through the challenges, and we have the power to choose how we want to experience, or how we want to face the challenges that come up. We can either say life is against us, or we can see beyond that and go into everything in life is for me. Everything has my back. The divine has my back. This is all divinely orchestrated, even though I have no idea why the heck I have to go through this at this time. I know on the other side is exactly what I need or wanted. Yeah.
So true. It was bringing to light this experience that, and I don't know, because I've been talking about perhaps some of my biggest transformations. And one of them was my divorce after 25 years. But what if you went into these things? Because here's part of our programming, like, this is going to be so hard. What if I just decided to flip a different switch on when something like that's approaching, like that same thing? Let it be easy, let it be fun. Because, at the end of the day, all these circumstances, all these experiences, whether they be triumph or tragedy, they're all just experiences that we receive gifts from, that we receive encouragement from, that we receive the next steps from, the next knowing. They truly, truly are, because if any of you has ever been through one of those kind of experiences, you might be sitting in yourself right now saying, thank God that happened. Right? You know what I mean? Like, so we could do that with everything. And this is one of the biggest things that I feel like. I just finished a private retreat here with one of my favorite clients in Sedona. And this is one thing that we really came back to the simplicity of, like, what words am I choosing? And am I willing to step back and take a peaceful pause before I speak something to life? Because if you go back through the stitches of your life and you can remember some of the things that you were saying and some of the words that you were using, you'll quickly realize how you aided in manifesting the experience that showed up just by what you were saying. And it seems very basic, but hey, we all learned how to walk. You can teach an old dog new tricks. So some of those old silly things that we used to say were barriers. Were barriers that we'll call them the devil or, whatever, that put up to keep us from our divine self. Adapt and overcome. You can't teach old dog new tricks. What about this one? Big girls don't cry. Come on, right? And so all this guilt and shame comes up when we're going against these silly little sayings that really mean nothing. Yeah, so we worked a lot on that. I love Sedona for that reason. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel of love and light, and that just wants to allow whatever energy wants to pour through me to whomever needs it to shine outward. And we spent a lot of time over the weekend in some of the most beautiful energies, just in that whole idea of connecting to self and reframing the simplest of words, even to the fact, like, even giving yourself an excuse, like, well, I've been saying it my whole life. Well, that's a great reason to not.
Yeah.
Looking for something to show up different. That's a good thing to think that, I got to do things different, right down to the hardest and deepest programming of what we're speaking to life.
Absolutely. There's like different things that I want to like go into, but okay. So it's very interesting. I was just watching like a podcast, or I think it was an interview about someone who does like these mind reprogramming using frequencies and all of that. And as I'm listening to them talk, I realized, I looked at my husband, I was like, the mind is so fragile. Look at how easy it can be programmed and, changed and shifted. But when you tune into the heart, it's not that fragile. You cannot do that to the heart. And yet society has made the mind, like put the mind on the throne, on the pedestal. And that's the very thing that you can shift so easily. That's the very thing that you can control, you can manipulate. And it's funny. It's like the mind doesn't even want to be on the throne. The mind wants to be on the side of the heart. It wants to work with the heart, and the mind fascinates me. Now, of course, the lower vibration of the mind, which is about the thoughts, the beliefs, the programming, the limitations, all of that. But when you tune into the higher frequency of the mind, you're like, oh, yeah, we need to tap higher. We need to like move higher, because that's really where the mind wants to operate from, not what society has taught us, where we think it should be, if that makes any sense. There's so much more to the mind. Like, we need to elevate our minds, and we can only do that when it is in that beautiful dance with the heart.
So true.
So I wanted, go for it. So I wanted to, because I love hearing you talk about Sedona. Sedona, the first and the last one, because I haven't been back since. I went with two of my classmates from grad school, and it was the most magical experience. But one thing I love about Sedona is the red earth. I mean, if you ask them, they will laugh, and because when I see red earth, I just want to like just throw myself down and roll in it. And I even have a jar of the earth on my altar.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was so potent. And I remember we went to some of the vortexes and we meditated, and there's so much past life stuff that came through, and it was just such a beautiful. I see it as this bell that is constantly ringing and waking you up. Like, I could not live there. I just could not live there all the time. Like, oh my gosh, it's too activated.
It's so true, because, and I have met many people here that have told me that very thing. I lived in Sedona for 6 months, and I had to move to Cornville. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do this. The dreams, it is a high, it has a very high frequency. And I love how you call it that red earth. It just pulls me right into Muladhara, right into my root chakra. And if you know anything about working with the chakra energies in some sense, but even if you don't, the red is the root. Yes. And truth be told, I'm going to say it out loud, truth be told, all of the resources and opportunities and structures and stabilities that you need to move up the chain of the energetics start at the base, at the red earth. And that, to me, is one of the reasons why this particular beautiful energy of Sedona is so potent. But guess who else is living in the red earth? Our ancient ancestors. What did I say? Root chakra, biggest support, stability, really powerful connection. If you are solid in your root, it's a heck of a lot easier to get solid in everything else up the line. If you're not solid in your root, success, stability, financials, opportunities, resources, if you're not feeling safe there, it's going to be it's going to be a pretty wild adventure from a place of having to move through things. But the red earth, the ancestors, they speak in voices that you've never even heard. You hear, it's pure potentiality. You can hear and connect with things in this space and place. Let's just say there's no veil. Let's just say there's no boundaries. Let's just say that this is wide open space to do what? To create, because red earth, red energy, pulling up to the sacral chakra, pulling up to the passion and to the purpose, getting in those base energies. Sedona, they say there's a lot of vortexes here, right? And everybody always like, what is a vortex? You can think of a vortex as like a battery. A battery, and so you could be the battery actually, and you come into this vortex energy to charge up. It works. There's nothing you have to do to feel this. Okay. In essence, you put your feet on her land and you're going to get a taste of her medicine. Whether it comes to you as grace or it comes to you as defeat, it's going to come to you. It's going to come through you. And this is where the human gets to make choices. Like, so what happens with, let's say, grief and anger and all those energies and all those limitations is that we deflect what divine is trying to tell us. We deflect what is coming towards us. We deflect we hold on to what wants to move away from us. We do the exact opposite of what is called for to find and feel into our freedoms. But one thing about standing in this place, if you ever decide to come, I would love to take you on a tour, anybody that's listening, and retreat you to the highest frequency. But you can certainly come for yourself and feel it. But when you step on her earth, when you find yourself in this red earth, do me a favor and just lift your heart up and say, I'm open to receive. Just lift your heart up and say, I'm open to receive. And understand there's no veils and no boundaries. So any veils and boundaries that you have covering yourself, know that it's safe to let those go too when you're here. Because that's the only way that things are going to get in and permeate and penetrate and find their way to your heart. Is if you drop the layers, you drop the veils, you put down the boundaries. You can pick them up when you leave. You may not need to pick them up when you leave, which is what I do. That is really what I hold space for my clients for here, is the feeling that you can walk away and you can get in your rent-a-car and head down the hill to Phoenix, and you don't feel like you have to pick anything up. That you can move in your lightness and carry your lightness to your own community, back into your own space. That you will feel as though my vessel has given you a gift of Sedona that you can't unsee, that you can't let go of, that you can't lose, and that she travels with you for the rest of your adventure in this lifetime.
Oh, one of the things I love about Sedona, apart from the red earth, is the fact that it's such a high frequency place, but it's also so grounded it's like the way that it just is so beautifully created. It's like high frequency matches that earth deep.
You can say
energy, the mother energy.
It's heaven on earth.
Yes.
We live in heaven on earth.
Yes.
And what you were just reflecting, Abigail, is that's right. We have a high and potent frequency, right? We can get any messages. But I guarantee you, if you're not feeling safe, supported, and loved, you're going to have a hard time receiving those messages. So what she does there with that heaven and earth code is she says, I'll support you. Listen to what I have to say. Boom. Here you are on the red earth and the most supportive energy right here. Now you can listen. Now you can hear. So those higher frequencies you were just talking about, you feel safe to receive them.
Yeah. One of the things that I did to feel safe, because for me, and I know you probably relate to this, I call us the spirit babies, when we're just more spiritual tuned than earth, than human 3D human body or earth, like when you go to places like that, you get the spiritual part, and then the land is like, wait, but I need you here. And what I did was actually I took off my shoes and I started walking on the red earth, and then I started touching it. Like I said, if there weren't people there, I would be rolling all up in it. Like, I just want to throw it all over me. Like, I had to bring my body in there because I get the higher frequency. That's not the point. That wasn't why I was there. In order for me to hear clearly, I had to anchor my body into the earth. It had to be both. It couldn't be one or the other. So if you're someone who you're really good with being earth, like connected to earth here, you make money easy, like being human makes sense to you, then go to a place like that. You're connected to your higher version of yourself, the spirit aspect of yourself. And you can actually go and sit and meditate, and it's clear, crystal clear. If you're someone who's more spirit and you go to a place like that, instead of flying away with all the vortexes, you take your shoes off, play with that red earth, put your bottom on the floor. Like, I just love sitting on the rocks and touching the rocks and scooting my booty on the right. Like, it was hilarious. I was like a child. I could not help it, but that helped me come into my body and bring all of that right here, instead of me trying to escape and be in the spiritual. No, it's about merging spirit with human. It's about merging heaven with earth. That is the whole point, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's available to every single person here. This is available to all of us. But it's funny that you would say that, because yes, getting barefoot, sliding down some of the rocks, sitting on some of the rocks. And this is what's been really fun for me, is I like to play in all the realms. So I'll sit on those rocks, or I'll stand on that red earth barefoot, and then I'll close my eyes and visualize my dragon out there flying.
Yes, like you can help it. My dragons were like, yes. It has such a powerful dragon presence there too. Yeah.
Oh, they're in the clouds everywhere. You can see them all the time here. They are in the clouds everywhere here, everywhere. Even to those that like that galactic feel of UFOs and things like that. There are
Yes.
Lumerians here. There are UFO sightings here. There is a lot of amazing and wonderful realities living right here in Sedona. And that, I believe, is part of the reason why we have this vortex, this portal of high frequency, because leaders from other realms can also stay here, and they also live here, and they have all kinds of places to live in the red earth.
Yes.
There are cave dwellings and
Yes.
massive temples. You can call them rocks. I call them temples. That all kinds of different life forms can habitat in here.
Yeah.
And again, that's what makes it what it is. Just like the energies of Peru and the energies of Egypt and even the energies of Mount Shasta in California, where these other beings, they are living here.
Yeah.
And I know, as I continue to evolve in my own humanness and my own soulfulness, and I can even say now what my channel is saying is, I've seen these beings. This is reality. I am a very grounded, safe, supported, loving channel. I live a soulful life, a source-aligned business. And this is just me sharing the reality of our life. And some of you will connect with it, and some of you perhaps might put a barrier over it. But there's all kinds of life form here. There's all kinds of life form all over the world. But there's something about Sedona and Peru and Egypt where these life forms also thrive.
Yeah.
We thrive as a collective consciousness.
Yes.
And it's really the most amazing. And you don't have to live here.
Yeah.
I get to. But you just have to. This is what was called to me about 4 or 5 years ago when Sedona invited me. And was invited for the first time. And I sat on her red earth, and I received from her red earth. And I left here. 24 hours later, I was back in New Orleans, and I was sobbing like a baby, sobbing just at 2 a.m. And all that I could hear coming from my body was, I want to go home. I want to go home. And I'm like, what? So I woke up and I'm like, what was that? And so I went into my prayer closet, my meditation space, and it was very clear. We want you to come back, and we want you to bring people with you. And I was like, oh, okay. And so lo and behold, against my own humanness, it started pulling me back in. And I returned to Sedona 6 times that year with over 25 different people. I brought them here on retreat. I brought my daughters here. I brought my family here. And all that it was for then, I had a yoga studio in New Orleans. And so that's where most of my people would come from, this Southern energy. And in the Southern energy, there's a lot of hardship, and there's a lot of ancestral grief and disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And so the neat thing that I kept seeing is, I'm bringing these people that are native to New Orleans and bringing them here, and then they're bringing this energy back, and they're able to heal these ancestral lines for themselves. And then she kept on, Sedona kept on with me. So I was in a cacao ceremony for winter solstice one year. And I got this vision and this ask to go back to New Orleans. This was before I was living full time here. Go back to New Orleans, and I want you to heal the trees. I want you to take all your crystal bowls, and I want you to do meditations just like you do for other meditations that you host, just with the trees. Bring the crystals, put the crystals out on their roots. And so my husband, he's such a genuine, loving spirit. He would help me bring all my instruments, and he would sit there with me while I would just meditate with the trees and play sound frequency, because the roots spread out far and wide. And the leaves, they fall and they blow through the earth. So we can cover mass amounts of space by healing and working with the trees. Well, that was after. So I knew what to do once I got there. But so I got this vision. So I'm traveling back to New Orleans, and I'm like, sometimes we put things off to the side. Well, this was not going off to the side. So I get back to New Orleans airport, and I go in. They just rebuilt this new airport maybe 6 months prior. And it's the first time that I had used the restrooms downstairs at the baggage. So I go clear across the airport to go, and I'm like, ugh. And then I come back, and would you know that there is a massive portrait of an oak tree in the airport when I'm walking back to my luggage? There was no way that I could unsee it. And I knew. So that's what she asked me to do. Imagine stepping foot on her lands and really, like I said, I am open to receive. Imagine what wants to be birthed in and through you. Because a lot of us are sitting here like, I want to be the change. I want to bring the consciousness back to a collective and unified state. And I just don't know how. There's answers here.
Yeah.
If you're willing to receive them. And so that's what I've been doing back and forth when I go back and forth. And I heal the trees. And so trees here love me. They always and they always have some kind of little sitting arrangement. The ones that catch my eye, they always have like this way that their trunk has developed. And they're always like, come sit with us. Just sit here.
I love it so much.
You can't unsee this stuff. Now, if I was still trapped in my 25-year corporate mind.
Yeah.
That was just, sometimes that part of your life is just a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to be done in and through us. And if we just, like Abigail, you said it earlier, my favorite word, surrender. If we just let it in.
Yeah. I love that this planet, places like Sedona, it's like you can go there to remember who you really are. You can go there to regroup yourself, come back to you, like the clarity of you. And the beauty of that is that we have spots like that all over the planet. It's like, when you think about it, it's like, oh my God, this was genius. We dropped onto this planet as human and we forgot. We got that cosmic amnesia thing. And yet there's all these tools and places that are like, just come and remember. It's like we didn't come without a map. The map is there if we're willing to open up to see it and receive it, right? There are places on this physical earth that you can go, recalibrate, rejuvenate, remember, reconnect, root, all on this planet. It is beautiful. It's simply beautiful. Like, wow, it blows my mind. It really does.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. And quite a shame that they're still not leading this way into our youth, into our children, into those that really are going to stand up as the next generation of consciousness. We're changing that. We know.
Yes, it's happening.
History schools all over the globe. I hear about it more and more every day. And I'm like, but, it's true. And for anybody ever out there that's just sitting there like, and this is your response. I don't have time.
Mm.
Just take a moment and tell yourself and really listen to that, because what you're saying is you don't have time to welcome yourself home. What you're saying is you don't have time to become everything that you came here to be. We find a way to get what we want, every single one of us, right? And is that a gift, or is that is that to our own demise? We will find a way. So when you sit back in your life and you tell yourself that you don't have time to go on an adventure that's going to recalibrate you and welcome you home, contemplate on that. Contemplate on that, because what you're putting before you usually is a three-dimensional idea that they fed you, that you have to do this and you have to do that. But when you tell yourself you don't have time to do the things that you want to do, or travel to the places that are calling you, they're calling you. I mean, we are brilliant humans. But at some moment, you need to close your eyes and recognize that the divine is always communicating with you. The idea is not always coming from you.
Yes.
There's something greater. And again, where are you in a rush? Where's your time anyway? The cycle of life is going to happen. And what a blessing it is to come to the end of this cycle of this life and know who you are and be at home in yourself. And I've experienced that just recently with the ascension of my mother. And what a blessing it is when you are home, when you are in your sovereignty, when you are in your unity, when you are surrendered and letting in all that the universe, the God source divine, has prepared for you. That everything is received with joy and bliss. It's true. I couldn't believe it for a minute myself, the way that I receive the cycle of life now. But those are the gifts to saying, you know what? I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into my heart, and I'm going to honor these callings, to go here, to do this, to stop that, to let go of that. I'm going to honor that. Because what we came here to do is simply that, Abigail, right? We came here to reconnect to our heart, and our heart is for humanity. Our heart is for the existence of truth and love and peace. And guess what else? Because they so desperately want me to share this. We don't have to ask for peace on earth anymore. We just have to be it.
Become it. Yes. Yes.
And guess what then shows up in front of you? Peace on earth. Is it peace on earth outside of me all the time, everywhere? Probably not. Is there something I can do to assist with that? Yeah. You know what? Find your peace on earth. Become your peace on earth. That is the only thing that you can do to help others see peace on earth in their life. Yes. All over the globe. I know what kind of wars are going on. You know why what are we fighting for? We're fighting over a natural resource, oil. Let's just talk about that one just for a minute. I don't talk about the 3D very often. But we're fighting over something. Guess what? Guess what Mother Earth told me? Guess what the red dirt told me? You're not going to run out of anything. I have limitless resources for you. But what are we doing? We're creating hate, division, war for something that is not even real. Create your peace on earth. Limitless resources and opportunities are available to each and every one of us. Stop fighting for something that's ready to leave you and start inviting what is ready to be received.
Whew. We're just going to leave it right there. Like, Just mic drop right there. We're good. We're good right there. There's nothing more to say.
Ooh, funny
Woo!
body channel. That's all I'm going to
Wow.
say. I'm going to sit beside myself.
Truths. Truth. Thank you. Thank you, goddess. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
I just absolutely love you.
I love you.
You
Always.
sister. You truly embody what we call love. That in a sense that it goes beyond the earth 3D kind of love. It's more universal. And you have this clarity that allows us to see beyond our own limitations. And thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. This is what I know. It was a whole lot more accessible for me to become all of me because I had people like you, Abigail, linking arms beside me. That is how we raise collective consciousness.
Yes.
By linking arms with those that are ready, willing, and committed to see life differently. And it doesn't mean that Abigail is going to see the same life that I'm seeing. What it means is, I don't care what you believe in. I believe in you. I believe in we. And whatever mark that I came here to do, to create, I believe that we can do it together. And the same little nugget of wisdom and little piece of mastery that you came to share, which is different than mine. And it may not feel like the same thing I believe. No big deal. We still have a frequency to uphold together. We do it together, not in division, in unity, knowing that our beliefs are going to be different, but for one truth, because it all leads to one thing: love. 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 And can you imagine a world where all that you see, all that shows up in front of you is love? I've seen it. I live it. And that's what it took. It took me to come home to love, but with others, with Abigail, and with all of the other soul sisters that we've created and connected with and linked arms with along the way. We all do something different. Doesn't matter. I love you. I love you so much.
There you have it, everyone. It comes down to love. We're just going to let that drop in, sink in, integrate, radiate out. It all comes down to love. Come back to yourself. Sister, thank you so much for joining me for this freaking delicious chat. Which was not a surprise at all, because this is what happens when we get together.
And, for the rest of the day, our vibration is just going to be already through the roof. It's just going to be totally.
I love it.
Joy and bliss. Yeah.
I want to give you space. So how do people find you, and what do you have going on that you would like to invite people to?
I have so many things always surrounding me. The easiest way to connect with me is www.marygooden.com. Easy peasy. MaryGooden.com. A lot of the things that I'm adventuring through right now are on my website. I do have a publishing company. I am working on 2 book projects, one titled Soul Parent and one titled Divine Love. I have,
of course.
Yes, of course. That dropped in just about a week or 2 before my mom's ascension. And then, so the storyline dropped into place just about a week or 2 after the title for me. So it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I do have retreat spaces available in Sedona coming this fall in October and November. And I have a few private weekends that are still available. So again, if you go to my website, you can check in, you can book a call there, you can email me from there. It's www.marygooden.com. And last but certainly not least, I do have a program that leans into how to welcome yourself home, how to feel these heaven and earth codes inside of you, called Anchor Your Light Immersion. And that is also, it is a 7-week adventure with me through some beautifully recorded channeled messages, 7 energetic activations to your birthrights, and a 70-minute time and space private just with me to clear and connect with that very source of unconditional love and light that is in all of us. All on the website, all there for you to peruse through and just connect with me. Book a call, send me an email, reach out on Facebook, anywhere you can find Mary Gooden. Message. see what happens.
Yes. And I have the website, I think it's above in the show notes. So go ahead and check it out. Click on it, add her as a friend, send her a message, check out what she has going on, especially, the retreats. Like, seriously, it's incredible. It's on my dream board. It's going to happen. But again, Mary, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much, sister. And thank you all for joining us. And hopefully you were blessed with something that was said or something that you felt that will elevate the rest of your day or raise the frequency for the rest of the day. Because I know we're feeling that already. So hopefully you're receiving that, because we're beaming it right back out. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, everyone. My heart is always open.
Bye, everyone.